Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today is Friday, December 22nd, 2023. You'll have to forgive me if I'm not jumping out of my seat with excitement, and I'm not entirely sure why I feel subdued today. The stock was up over $2 on massive volume of nearly 4.5 million shares. Phenomenal day, up over 30% in one day. Really, really great. And maybe one of the reasons why I'm feeling somewhat ambivalent is because I'm wondering if the market is basically telling me that dilution is good, as long as that dilution includes some critical keywords, such as, for example, expanding and enhancing one's hash rate through the purchase of additional Bitcoin mining machines. As long as phraseology to that effect is included in any regulatory filing, maybe what the market is telling me is that's what's wanted. See, by contrast, I think what I want, based on the data that I've had the opportunity to observe and the opportunity to think about, right? Based on that data, I think what I would have enjoyed perhaps seeing more of an emphasis on is, hey, we're not going to spend a whole lot of money on Bitcoin mining machines chasing what appears to be a endlessly expanding Bitcoin network hash rate, but instead, we're going to concentrate the capital that we are raising to deploy a truly differentiated source of revenue. And that truly differentiated source of revenue, in my opinion, would come not from additional Bitcoin mining machines, regardless of how efficient or shiny and new they happen to be, but rather through the acquisition of the parts necessary to build Karboliths. Karboliths are these magnificent devices that enable Stronghold Digital Mining to capture carbon dioxide, CO2, from the air. It's a direct air capture to mineralization process that is truly unique to Stronghold Digital Mining as compared to its publicly traded Bitcoin mining peers. Not only can this dramatically drive down the costs of power, both at Scrubgrass and at Panther Creek, but it ultimately represents a completely differentiated source of revenue that has the potential to really help drive positive EBITDA for this company in the years ahead. There's no halving event. There's no desperate need to continually upgrade the equipment once a Karbolith has been manufactured. Insofar as what I've been able to determine, it is not a technological race to then say, well, we're going to need to get rid of these Karboliths within about a year, maybe 2 years, so that we can replace them with Karboliths that are more efficient, because that is the way the market works, right? And that's what we're very used to seeing in the Bitcoin mining machine space. Rewind back a number of years, and those Bitcoin mining machines that were the latest and greatest just 3-4 years ago, today are functionally useless from the perspective of saying, hey, I want to have a meaningful, I want to have a meaningful Bitcoin mining machine within a larger Bitcoin mining ecosystem that's facing a halving in April of 2024, and whose overall network hash rate is growing quite significantly. I am neutral at best as it relates to the Bitcoin mining ecosystem. I think the returns can be there, provided that hash prices, which include transaction fees, are sufficient, right? I think the returns can be there for the basket of assets that Stronghold Digital Mining has spent like tens upon tens upon tens of millions of dollars to deploy. I am beginning to be more of the belief that win-win hosting plus arrangements, whereby Stronghold Digital Mining provides the data centers and the data center slots, so to speak, for others to provide their Bitcoin mining machines, right? Whereby Stronghold Digital Mining gets paid a hosting fee and then gets to participate on the upside to some degree. I think that arrangement provides a lot of exposure to Bitcoin mining economics without necessitating the crush of capital expenditure that is typically required to continually update and upgrade one's own Bitcoin mining machine fleet so that it's the latest and greatest. It has the lowest joules per terahash and has the highest, specs on the market. This is admittedly a minority viewpoint. I think what the public markets have continually reinforced and rewarded is the idea that companies, be they large or small, focus exclusively on raising money, be it through dilutive private placements or at-the-market offerings or any other number of permutations of financially engineered methods to raise capital and to use that capital exclusively to buy new Bitcoin mining machines, and to also emphasize a desire to grow one's internal hash rate capacity exponentially. So it's not even a matter anymore of saying, hey, we're upgrading to the latest and greatest machines, but it seems like you really get rewarded in this market by going a step further and saying, you know what? We want to grow hash rate capacity to 30 exahash, 50 exahash, 100 exahash. Shit, why not just make it 1,000 exahash, right? Like that's kind of the modality that seems to be rewarded by the market. So that's why I feel as if though I'm somehow at odds with what's going on. Not because I'm not I'm a huge beneficiary of a $2 move in the stock price. I mean, I'm an incredible participant economically in that type of move. But I'm also kind of wondering at some level if I understand how this machine works anymore. And that makes me feel a little bit unsettled. There's no way that I could have been involved, I think, to the degree that I have been in Stronghold Digital Mining if I didn't have the ability to understand what's kind of going on. And I'd like to believe that the overwhelming majority of this capital is going to be used for the acceleration of the carbon capture initiative, which, by the way, to be fair, was mentioned in today's private placement, news release. So I'm optimistic that while maybe there's going to be some capital allocated, to buying Bitcoin mining machines, right, to maybe upgrade to high grade the fleet. Remember, about 75% of the Bitcoin mining machines that are located in Stronghold Digital Mining data centers are owned directly by Stronghold Digital Mining. The other 25% are derived, I believe, from a relationship with Foundry and with Canaan. And those are win-win hosting plus arrangements. It's a win for Stronghold, and it's an absolute win for these, hosting participants, right? Companies that are choosing to host their own Bitcoin mining machines with the company. It's a win all the way around. As I said, I'm neutral. I'm probably at best neutral about the Bitcoin mining market right now. That's not to say that, hey, the price of Bitcoin, is likely to rise dramatically and very substantially, which could, of course, help with hash prices. But, you can have Bitcoin at 1 million, but if you've got a network hash rate that has, risen in tandem with the price of Bitcoin, you could end up with hash prices, especially after a halving, that aren't exactly anything special. By contrast, the obsession, the absolute obsession that I see in the world for carbon, right? This idea that carbon is the new sort of like great evil of our time, to the point where I even thought I saw an article that cited, I believe, a United Nations study, I think, that pointed at human breathing as being a potentially detrimental source of carbon emissions. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So, there's clearly an obsession, a deep obsession with carbon and carbon removal. And there are companies that are not just merely obsessed with talking about their desire for a greener, cleaner planet, but they are willing to invest like a lot of money, like shocking amounts of money towards the purchase of carbon credits, carbon removal credits, so to speak, of which Stronghold Digital Mining can be a seller of those credits and do good by the environment, because we're going to remove carbon from the air, right? This sort of like terrible thing is going to be removed by Stronghold Digital Mining, and that's legitimately a good thing. And there are companies that are willing to say, you know what, we will pay like hundreds of dollars per ton of carbon removed from the atmosphere. And I think that's a trend that's not going to slow down anytime soon, but is rather going to accelerate. So if someone were to say to me, hey, you've got to make a choice. You've got to invest $15 million that has been raised as part of a private placement. You either invest that in, okay, let's look up the latest Bitcoin mining machine. All right, let's see how much it costs per terahash. Wait, is this the latest one? Oh, you know what? I just saw another company released another Bitcoin mining machine whose specs are slightly better. You see, you get into that modality of like, it seems like every 6 months there's something new and better that keeps coming out. So if you ask me, okay, you want to spend 15 million on whatever happens to be the latest and greatest right now, I'm hard pressed to want to do that, when as an alternative, I can instead say, you know what, I want Karboliths at Scrubgrass and Panther Creek fully deployed, fully installed by the end of the first quarter of 2024. Will $15 million get me there? And if the answer is yes, $15 million will get you to Karboliths fully deployed, fully operational by the end of the first quarter of 2024 at both Scrubgrass and Panther Creek. If that's the other option, I will vote every single time without hesitation, like with zero hesitation, with genuine excitement for that option. So if the $15 million is actually going to mostly, say like 90% of it's going to go towards the very, very, very rapid deployment of Karboliths at Scrubgrass and Panther Creek, and we're going to be able to say, you know what, we were kind of forecasting that maybe getting these Karboliths set up at Panther Creek would be more of a late 2024 activity. Hey, if instead we're saying, you know what, now that we've raised this money, we're going to accelerate this, we're going to get it done in the first quarter, I could get really excited about that, because that to me strategically makes dramatically more sense than taking $15 million or even $5 million of that $15 million and saying, you know what, we're going to chase hash rate, we're going to chase efficiency, we're going to chase Bitcoin mining machines in a market that to me seems a bit saturated, to me seems a bit, it just seems, dare I say, like a bit of a trap. We've got some pretty darn good Bitcoin mining machines already. To the extent we're going to see the price of Bitcoin run, to the extent we're going to see hash prices improve, which they've been pretty good lately, then we arguably will do fine with the basket of assets we already have in place. And furthermore, when those Bitcoin mining machines that we have in place that Stronghold Digital Mining directly owns become no longer economically viable, I am persuaded to think that hosting arrangements whereby we, as in Stronghold Digital Mining, is not having to spend countless tens upon tens of millions of dollars buying these Bitcoin mining machines, but instead we can say, hey, we're going to provide some of the lowest cost of power anywhere to be found, powered in part by our carbon capture efforts. You, hosting partner, look at, if you're a Canaan, if you're a Bitmain, if you're a MicroBT, if you're any other Bitcoin mining machine manufacturer, you've already got the machines. You just need a place to plug them in. Why can't Stronghold Digital Mining be the place where you plug them in? We strike a win-win hosting arrangement similar to what we've already got with Canaan and with Foundry. It's a win for Stronghold in the sense that, hey, we're going to generate some useful revenue. We're going to have exposure, meaningful exposure to Bitcoin mining economics. We can focus on what we arguably do best and can differentiate ourselves at, which is carbon capture and running mine waste to energy facilities, potentially even expand the number of facilities that we own and operate, expand the number of data centers that we make available to those who have Bitcoin mining machines and are looking for a place to plug them in. But we don't get trapped in this highly competitive, commoditized market of saying we're raising money, we're going to take that money, we're going to give it to a Bitcoin mining manufacturer. They're going to give us Bitcoin mining machines that will be potentially largely obsolete in a couple of years. We're going to put those machines in our data center. We're going to hope that the network hash rate hasn't exploded to the point where even those latest, greatest machines don't really do a whole lot for us, only to then have to repeat that process in another couple of years. Hey, I'm excited and happy for the fact that the stock is up $2 today. Hey, let's have it be up $2 every day from here until the end of the year, right? I'm not complaining about that. I'm being transparent as to why I'm a little bit subdued, because I guess I'm just not really sure what the emphasis will truly be on as it relates to the $15 million that we raised today. because raising that money came at a cost. It came at a meaningful cost that I think about and that I dwell on. And I can only hope and pray that to the extent Stronghold is truly a data, a data dependent, a data driven allocator of capital, that some of what I've just mentioned in today's broadcast is being looked at as well. That we're not simply diving further into a Bitcoin mining ecosystem that grows more crowded and more competitive and more commoditized, dare I say, by the day. Okay, I want to end on a high note. I hope this wasn't too much of a downer, okay? Because but I have to keep it real with you, all right? I'm a cheerleader. As I said, hey, up 30%, more than 30% today. That's effing awesome. I mean, we have a long ways to go, right? And I'm excited and happy about that. And I truly believe that if we're able to differentiate ourselves, I think we're going to have a lot more days like this in our future. So let's stay positive. Let's be great. Have a phenomenal weekend. Have a great holiday to the extent you celebrate any holidays this time of the year. And even if you don't, you can at least celebrate the gift that we got from the market today in the way of shares of Stronghold Digital Mining really being one of the best performers in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. Okay, I'll catch up with you again at some point later next week.